Welcome back to the channel, everybody. In today's video I want to have a small talk with you guys about range. We're going to be talking about the best ways to practice not only your low register but your high register also. But before we start, if this is the first time we meet, my name is Raph, and on this channel we've actually been doing daily videos. I didn't think that we would make daily videos, but this is what we've been doing, talking about fundamentals of brass playing, trombone playing in particular, but it's applicable to all brass instruments. So if you're a tuba player or a euphonium player, French horn player or whatever, feel welcome on this channel. And in fact, if this is the first time that you're here, you might consider subscribing to the channel because you want to follow our journey into becoming better brass players and better musicians. So to today's topic, I want to talk about range, and the word of the day is going to be expansion. Expansion is going to be the word of the day, but actually the second word of the day is going to be patience. You have to expand your register, but you need to have patience. So if your comfort zone for a really good sound is only down until, you know, the middle B flat, that's okay. And if your comfort zone is maybe the D above the staff, I'm talking in bass clef basically, that's also fine. And what you want to do is not start directly by practicing pedal notes because we want to practice pedal notes, or practice the very high register because you want to play very high. What you need to really absorb inside of yourself is that you want to expand on your range little by little. And the reason is that everything comes into a context. Everything that you practice, you're practicing so that when it comes to actually playing or performing, it is easy, right? And oftentimes you're not going to just blast some pedal notes or just blast some high notes. It can happen, of course. I'm not saying it's not happening in a lot of jazz bands and a lot of big band stuff. Of course, lead trumpet's just going to play high, and bass trombone is going to stick it down there. But in general, you want to think about range as a progression. So, if you want to play low notes, you have to go there progressively. And that means that you need to not skip the middle to low range and just directly go into the pedals. The reason is also that if you do that, you're going to adopt a bad technique. You're going to adopt a bad technique, and you're going to make some bad you're going to get some bad habits that are very, very hard to get rid of. And believe me, because I have been there, I was kind of pressured when I started playing on the bass trombone. I didn't really have time. I had to learn this instrument in a few months, and I had to master a lot of things that I've never done before playing euphonium. But also for some years I've been only playing the valve trombone, jazz valve trombone, playing very high, and I had no low register. So I had to blast those low C's with double valves, and it was just not working. And the reason is that I was rushed into it when I should have taken my time first mastering the F with the trigger. So this is the first notes that you typically play in the low register, where you have to press the valve, of course, if you play a C or whatever, but I'm talking about more in the low register. And what that does, just adding the valve adds some resistance. So you need to take care of your air in a different way. So going down to the F, and then I should have gone down to the E, and then to the E flat, and gradually to the D, until I get my way there to that low C, or even worse, to that low B natural. And for sure I should have taken my time into going into the pedal notes, because what I started to do is, okay, I need to get this and I need to do it fast, right? So I kind of changed my embouchure in a way that, okay, I was able to blast some pedal notes, but they were ugly. They were ugly, and it doesn't matter in what context you play. It doesn't matter if you play classical music or reggae or jazz or pop, or it doesn't matter what kind of context you play. You need to play a pretty note. Even if it's really loud and really strong, it still has to have some aesthetic, even the biggest blastiest note that sometimes you hear in some movies, maybe, I don't know, just thinking maybe in the Lord of the Rings or in some big band music, like you hear those bah, or even in some Italian operas, you know, you hear those big brassy bass trombone notes, sometimes even contrabass trombone notes, just like pulling through. And the thing is, if you've not practiced it with a good technique, the sound is not going to blend with your colleagues. And what happens then is that it always sounds out of tune, it always sounds amateurish, it always sounds, it just doesn't sound good. And I'm not talking about a subjective, oh, what is beautiful and what is not, what is aesthetic and what is not. I'm talking about the feeling that you get, you know? So if somebody plays a really nice pedal note, really, really, really loud, like this close to your ear, if it's with the proper technique that will give that proper, big, full, rich, vibrating sound, it won't even hurt your ear. But if you go into some, like, little amateurish bands with people just trying to blast as loud as possible those bass notes, or those high notes for that matter, it's kind of the same, although high notes, you know, they hurt even when they're well played. I've played a lot of big band and I can tell you that having those lead trumpets right here behind you can really hurt, even if it's an amazing lead player. So I like to actually wear ear gear. I like this word, ear gear, earplugs, when I play in big bands for that reason. But anyway, to get back on the subject of those low notes, you know, you need to practice them with a good technique. They need to sound good, they need to blend with your section, and even if you want to play them as loud as possible, that's okay. So the technique to do this is to go gradually, and as we said, the word of the day is expand. So expand with the same technique, just, you know, go a little bit lower. So that means that you're not going to make a huge shift directly when you go into the pedal notes, but you go gradually and you keep the same embouchure. You don't puff your cheeks. Of course, maybe you might puff a little bit. I puff a tiny bit. I'm aware of that. Although when I do play like some really orchestral or choral, choir, you know, chorales, that's the word in English, then I am very careful to tighten my embouchure a little bit to just let the air go so that I can blend better with the other trombones, if there's other trombones, or singers if there's other singers, or saxophones if there's saxophones, whatever. Blend with everybody so that we can have a good intonation, and that will create a vibration. You know, it's very mystic actually, but it will create that vibration that goes into the audience, the public's ear, and that's like, wow, that feels good. You know, those bass notes, they feel good. Those high notes, wow, they feel good. You know, if you play them properly, they feel good. So what is the approach to practicing these things? Well, it's just, well, it's exactly what I've been saying. It's what we've been saying in yesterday's video when we practiced buzzing for, no, 2 days ago when we practiced buzzing for low register. It's just getting step by step by step by step. So instead of just practicing ba, pedal notes, ba, pedal notes, ba, pedal notes, practice scales, maybe scales going down, or different kind of flexibility exercises going down, arpeggios, or whatever. I can show you a few right now, and then it's going to be the end of this video. It's already been longer than I thought. I'm going to just like have a glass of water and then show you. So one exercise that I like to do for expanding my range is some sort of vocalese, you know, some little arpeggios, something like So a good exercise that I like to do is maybe some slow and progressive arpeggios going up and going down. So if we stay on that F, try not to move as much as you can. I have, of course, now I can't really look into it because of the camera, but I have this little mirror here on my stand. It's a very good accessory. So then going down, if you're practicing the trombone or any low brass instrument, what I suggest is that you start practicing going from up to down, because when you're up, usually maybe on a B flat or even on an E or even on an F, usually you have that good embouchure. It's not too loose. It's not too loose. One mistake that we make as brass players is to think that playing in the low register is just basically doing something like, and we lose our muscles, we lose our proper embouchure here, and what happens is that you lose the center of the note. So practicing from high to down, from high to low, sorry, is a good exercise. So you could do something like this. So once you got down there to maybe to the pedal B flat, like I just did now, going from the top, then you can keep that position of your embouchure, and then you might be able to attack some low B flats like this. So approach it like this. Some other exercise that you can do is the other way around, also going down, going from pedal tones maybe to higher tones, using some flexibilities. Right, some things like this where you're really from pedal notes to medium to high register. We didn't go so high today, but we will in the future, of course. In the next few videos, I will actually go more into details in some exercises that I really like, but the only point that I really want to make through this video today, and it's already been long enough, so I'm just going to press the stop button in a second. The only real point that I want to make is practice range as an expansion, not like practicing those high notes there and those low notes here. Practice like going from here to here. Check, do you have a good sound? Okay, so go back and like go a bit further up. Do I have a good sound? Okay, go back, go further up, further up, further up. There's some really good exercises out there. On top of my head, apart from scales, arpeggios, and these things, the stamp exercises are really good. I'm going to show them to you in one of the next video, probably this week, maybe next week. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss an episode, because we do go very gradual. We started by figuring out what is the best way to stand straight, what is the best posture that we can have to have a good sound, what is the best way to blow so that we don't have tension, so that we have a rich sound. We went on to practice like buzzing. Now we're going to practice range and sound quality. So make sure that you subscribe and that you press this little bell so that you know every time I post an episode. I also have a newsletter where I send messages, not every time, because right now I've been posting daily and I don't want to spam your mailbox every single day. But I'm going to send it maybe weekly or every few days. I'm not really sure yet. Maybe you can tell me what's the favorite model that you prefer. And also, I have started a Patreon page. Now, don't feel obliged to join just because, you know, if you can't afford it, if you're a student or whatever, like really don't feel obliged to join. But I did want to make a Patreon page so that people can support the channel if they wish. What you get in return is that you get little booklets every single month with technical exercises that I write down and I send them to you in PDF format. And you have all of them, and you have all of them transposed into every key so that you can just put the paper on the stand and just start playing. I also send you etudes and solos, and we have a private Facebook group, or we will have, because it's very new. There's nobody that joined yet, and I didn't really tweak it yet, but you can already check it out, and if you want to join, you can. We're going to have a private Facebook group where we can support each other, and you can also send me your recordings and I can give you some tips and do some one-on-one and some webinars where we can have some live lessons, etc. So make sure that you check it out if this is interesting to you. In any case, I will see you very soon in the next video. We're going to continue talking about range. We're going to continue talking about expanding our range. We're going to talk also, maybe in the next video actually, we're going to talk about progress. What does it feel like to make progress? What if you feel that you're not making progress? Are you doing something wrong? Is it normal? Should you be more patient? We are going to answer this question in one of the next videos. But I have a question for you today, just to end off this video. What aspect of your playing do you want to improve as fast as possible? Not as fast as possible, but like, what is your main interest in your technical aspect of your playing? So let me know. I will see you very soon in the next video, and yeah, take care. Ciao. Bye.